When you check into a hotel, do you think about who came before? Do you think about the staff? Or do you think about just your vacation? Well, perhaps after this episode, you might start having those questions. Because today, we talk about the dark history of the mysterious Virgil Hotel that recently burned to the ground only several months ago. Welcome back, dear listener, to The Monsters We Make. I am joined once again by my friend Matt Denian, and today we will be talking about the dark history, as I said, of the Virgil Hotel from New York. This will be a dark story full of rumors and hearsay and conjecture on our side, but the subject we will be talking about is dark, and if you wish not to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to, well, we warned you. Matt, welcome back once again.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it as always.
This is now our second most recent event, back to back.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of stuff going on in 2026 worthy of our attention, I would say, in terms of the types of activities and reports and stuff that we look into. That 2026 has been packed with it.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating year. Now we haven't covered all the events of 2026, and I'm sure one day we will. But this and the Bear Bailey event were just too tantalizing to just hold off any longer.
Yes, yeah. When you look at what happened or reported to have happened with both instances, yeah.
So what do you know about the Virgil Hotel before its mysterious fire?
So not a ton. I know it was kind of like a secluded hotel that seemed to cater towards sort of the wealthy people who lived there. Mainly stayed in there. They had an inordinate amount of staff that worked there, it seemed like. And how exactly you got into the hotel to stay there is really odd, because you can look at like when people who had moved in there, and you'll see like somebody moves in like 1920, and there's never any record of them dying or moving out or anything else. So discreet, I would say, is a term that would be used in abundance when referring to the Virgil Hotel. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. It is interesting because this is, of course, we've talked about we know out there are like very exclusive clubs for only the most wealthy and elite, but this, I mean, this one really has like very little to go on. In fact, some of the images we have, it took forever to get these, to recover anything, because it is extremely exclusive. There's little to no information about how it was built. It just showed up, kind of like what was his name, who built another hotel in New York, and that one got involved with a certain group of ghost hunters.
Oh yes, yeah, I know the one you're talking about. Yes,
yeah, I believe his name was Igor, like something Shandor, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Igor Shandor or something. But anyway, Shandor, it's funny to note, I did a lot of digging for this, and Shandor did have a hand in designing the Virgil Hotel.
That's interesting, and would figure in with some of the other stuff we had come across as well.
Yeah. And it's also interesting because this is not the only time we've heard like rumors of, well, I guess there's no way to like beat around the bush about it. There's been a lot of like rumors and whatnot that this was a place of like devil worship.
Yeah. So apparently, and a lot of this comes from a PI who used a surname, so we don't even know his real name. So again, a little bit of grain of salt, who wrote sort of like a tell-all book about a client of his who he did use the real name for, ironically, in his book. But this person, her sister, seemed to have disappeared off the face of the earth. And Asia Reeves, and Maria Reeves, her younger sister.
Yeah. Now, I do believe I have a picture. Actually, I don't think I have a picture of Asia at all. It's funny because what we do know about her is that she was incarcerated for about 15 years, give or take.
He was 10 years.
Yeah. For assault and theft. And also she had quite a body count in prison.
Yeah, apparently was not to be trifled with in prison. When she got there, quickly realized apparently she had to learn to defend herself and became quite adept at fighting off large groups of attackers.
Yeah. Now, the big thing is that she did, as you said, Maria was her sister, and what we do know is that their father abused them both physically and well, other ways.
Yes.
So apparently, from what I understand, is that they had tried multiple times to run away, but Asia left her for some reason. And I'm not going to blame Asia for this. I think it was just out of fear that she left Maria behind. And then after that, she got incarcerated.
Yeah, apparently what happened is she was trying to leave with Maria. Their father found them. And when the father confronted them, Asia actually shot her father. When she did that, though, the police were already on their way. Asia took off thinking that her father was dead, but he wasn't, which unfortunately left Maria, Asia's younger sister, in her father's care. During that time, Asia would be sent to prison, where she would develop an entirely new skill set just based on, kind of the day in the life of a prisoner in a maximum security prison. Whereas Maria would have to live with her father until his passing from cancer and be subject to all of the abuse you had mentioned previously.
Yeah. Now, this is the outside of the hotel, and this was someone who snapped a picture. It could be our detective. Who knows? This was anonymous. This is the front of the Abaddon Hotel the night before the fire, and there is a woman here, and I believe that is supposed to be Asia Reeves.
I think so. She was known to use maybe like a couple different surnames, but I believe that's Asia.
Yeah. So what we know that night is that Asia hired this private eye to look for her sister, and the source led to her having employment at the Abaddon. Almost said
Virgil.
Virgil. There's another hotel that's very close to this as well. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, the Virgil Hotel was this is the closest anyone could get outside of a few images we have on the inside, but really, it looks menacing. It does not look like a nice hotel, does it?
No, it does not. And I think what's also interesting about it, you can't find anything in terms of like inspections from the city on it, or fire marshal going to visit it, stuff like that. It just doesn't seem to exist.
That I could probably just explain as the elites just have a lot of money and can throw it at, whoever.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, whatever's going on in there, like, it's obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if that hotel was like a certain island. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So this hotel, like, and I've almost said it several times, but it does remind me of another case. Have you ever heard about the Hell House murder?
I have, but if you could elaborate, I would appreciate it.
This was in a smaller town. This wasn't in like the center of New York. This was like somewhere, and I believe like somewhere in the Midwest. And it was a hotel that was run by a cult led by a man named Tully. And Andrew Tully was his name. And Tully created the Abaddon Hotel. It was this small building, nothing too big, but it was subject to satanic worship. And there's a lot of rumors that the Virgil was also, like I said earlier, subject to satanic kind of worship as well.
So it's interesting you bring that up, because as I was doing more research, kind of reason I found out about Tully was he was connected to another hotel, which was rumored to be connected to satanic worship and sacrifices of people in the Ravens in Massachusetts. Are you familiar with that at all?
Actually, no, I'm not familiar with that.
So it's apparently was a hotel in Massachusetts in 1960. Now, rumor has it, based on, or not rumor, I should say the reports, let's make sure I get this name right. Bill Matland wrote a book about this, where his fiance Nan went there to learn about witchcraft trials during the 1600s, and while she was there, disappeared. So when Bill went to investigate, he found that the Ravens Inn was supposedly underneath this thrall of an Elizabeth Selwyn and Jethro Keene, who were burned as witches in the 1600s, but reportedly, according to Maitland, made a deal with the devil in order to extend their lives indefinitely, as long as they were making sacrifices to him. So in his book, he says that his fiancée Nan was one of these sacrifices. He went to investigate them, found out what was going on, and managed to burn the hotel down. Now, what's interesting here is the gentleman you had just mentioned in connection with the other hotel was apparently also connected to a Mrs. Newless who ran this hotel. Additionally, Tyler, now this is where stuff gets really crazy, is do you know who else was one of the investors in both of these hotels? I should say which family was connected to both of these hotels and to the Virgil, to all three of these hotels.
No, please tell me.
So have you ever heard of the Les Demas family? I'm probably not saying that right. They're owners of the Big Game Corporation.
Yeah, they all died after a wedding, didn't they?
Very recently, yes. All died after a wedding. Only the fiancée, Grace McCulley, had survived, and she had some interesting things to say as well about this family's connection to satanic cults and sacrifices. So we're mainly focusing today on the Virgil. I think it's interesting to note that there seems to be sort of like this network of hotels all leading back to the same group of people who reportedly were making sacrifices to the devil for power and longevity. So that's where I think that the report from the PI on Asia Reeves' story becomes interesting. So none of this stuff obviously is concrete. We do know that most of these places end up burning down, which is interesting, right? Like I think in 4 out of 4 times they've all burned down. And we do know that people went missing from these areas, and that obviously everybody's connected there is very powerful and had a lot of cash. So what are your thoughts on like this sort of interconnected network, it seems like?
Well, it's kind of funny, and I know it's like, really, there's so many devil worshippers making hotels, and to that I say it kind of makes sense. Like wealthy businessmen build these, what are like, it's all coming and going. People on vacation, it's easy to have people go missing on a vacation. It's a constant revenue of people it's a revolving door for whatever kind of, well, let's just call it what it is, fucked up shit you've got in mind, if this is true.
Yeah. And then when we really start to focus in on the Virgil, I mean, if the stuff that this PI wrote about what Asia encountered in there is real, it is really messed up and really terrifying, correct?
Yeah, it's a little disturbing, I'm not gonna lie. And it's really like upsetting to think that there's people out there with this kind of money and drive, and they're so like obsessed with these kind of dark arts to prey on people.
Yes, yeah. So apparently, and that's what happened to Asia's sister. So after she was kind of drifting from job to job, reportedly she was offered a job at the Virgil, where it said that she was kind of offered to join the staff there, and it looks like was maybe going to be one of these sacrifices, but instead found herself in a situation where she could join the cult. Is that correct from what the PI had written down?
Yeah, from what Asia had described. Yeah. Now, this is one of our only images of inside the hotel. It's just a hallway. You can see a cleaning lady right there. It's also, does it remind you of another hotel? It's so funny. We're talking about all these.
As I'm overlooking it? Yes, if that's what you're saying.
Yes. I would hate for you to overlook what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
Oh man, the Overlook Hotel is going to be fascinating to talk about one day.
One day for sure. Yes.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, yeah. So this it doesn't look like dark and satanic if that's to what we're to believe this guy. And keep in mind, he wasn't in that building, so he may
Correct.
be. And for all we know, maybe he embellished the story. I do believe Asia went in there to save her daughter, I mean sister, excuse me, to save her sister, because I would believe they probably were like doing horrible shit to people in there. I would believe it, and also it makes sense. Like, I would not be shocked if Asia was the one who started the fire.
No, no, nor I. And according to the PI, Asia went in there to save her sister. The group was going to sacrifice Asia, but apparently bit off more than they could chew, not knowing that Asia had spent so much time learning how to fight in prison. So Asia started taking out some of the hotel patrons in like pretty violent ways, and this is where like it becomes you have a little bit more like I wish we had more solid proof, but it does tie into like the Ravens Inn and other things we looked at with people selling their souls for longevity or immortality. And that from what Asia told the PI, that when she would hack these people to bits, they would just kind of put themselves back together.
Yeah. And it's so like I've never really understood immortality. I've never really liked it because I'm like, you'd have to get bored, right?
Yes, which is did you read the sections where Asia's report to the PI about some of the things that were going on in here to avoid boredom?
Yeah, some really degenerate shit, and some stories have led to something we will talk about in another episode. But this,
yes, yeah, that box I could see being utilized by people who are immortal, presumably because they wouldn't have to worry about the far-flung consequences of it either at the time, right?
Yeah. There has been a lot of like this is the fabled lament configuration. It is a object of dark and mysterious kind of that will lead someone to encounter strange entities that blur the line between pleasure and pain. I would believe that object was welcome in there with open arms.
Yes, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. What do you know about this? Because there is a few cases in the 80s, but this thing seems to be everywhere in history.
Yeah, as far as I know, it stretches back, like even as far as the Byzantium Empire and Constantinople, and maybe even further than that, where like people known for being hedonists would sort of search it out, and some of them would just disappear when they were looking for it.
Yeah. It was a gate. It's almost like a gateway to somewhere beyond heaven and hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be a case for another time, but it would not shock me if this is true. If like people in there were really trying to play with this thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, as well as other stuff. So this is an interesting thing I had found as well. So, well, it's difficult to find everybody who stayed at the Virgil. One name I was able to find was Sharon Vanderbilt, who is well known for being one of the main pioneers, I guess, in rejuvenating cosmetics and technology to help people like de-age themselves, so to speak. So she was actually in charge. I got to check this in my notes real fast. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. She was in charge of Eternos, which was an anti-aging company. And she worked very closely with her second in command was Lisa Van Rumen, who was connected to the mysterious disappearances, I guess, of both the actresses Madeline Ashton and Helen Sharp, who were reported to have been seen taking on pretty bad injuries and then still recovering from them, and who also, when they reached their 50s, all of a sudden looked much younger than they had previously. So it's just another weird connection with this place and some of the stuff that could be going on there.
Yeah. I like also, can I just say that some of that these cults have the worst are like the worst kept secret?
They kind of are. I mean, it's like you said before, it's elites. Sometimes they think they're good at keeping secrets and they're really not. And it's sort of like a thing that everybody knows, but not much can be done about it by the authorities because these people wield so much power, which is why it takes somebody like reportedly Asia in this case to go in there and, shall we say, burn the whole thing down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because again, we don't have any like physical evidence of these people like being immortal. But I would believe the cult worship.
That I could believe. What do you think about what's written in the book with what occurs in the basement here with the idol, so to speak, that they had?
Oh yeah, the idol. It was just a pig head, right?
Yeah, I'm picturing something along the lines of remember when there's what was it, like around World War II, and that group of kids was stuck on that island and they killed a pig and put his head on a pike type of thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that.
I think they called it the Fly Lord or something like that.
Lord of the Flies or something.
That's it. Thank you. It reminded me of that, but apparently, yeah, there was a and this is where the story becomes really interesting. A pig head there that the cultists could call, I'm guessing, Satan to enter into it, and he would give out orders as well as grant the immortality to people who made sacrifices. Is that what you understood from the book as well?
From what I understood, that was the idea, is that Satan, or perhaps another demon pretending to be Satan, because there are, like, here's the thing, demons have this funny thing where they tell lies. So for all we know, like, they may have made a deal with a demon, but it may not have been like the devil. You know what I mean?
Right. Because there's all kinds of demon deals that we know of that go on where it might not actually be the devil himself, right?
Yeah.
In this case, it's hard to say, but it was a demon, reportedly a demon anyway, and they would write their names on the pig head, and that would like grant them the immortality. And this is where the whole immortality thing becomes strange. Apparently, Maria, in order to gain her immortality, because she had joined the group, would have to sacrifice Asia. But instead of doing that, she wrote Asia's name on the pig head and sacrificed herself, thus granting at this point, pretty, according to her, banged up Asia, who'd been fighting all night in some of the most insane ways possible, immortality to take on the other cult members without suffering further damage, right?
Yeah. That again, like here's the other thing is, like, how did she learn how to fight like that? I mean, I know prison can be tough and you got to survive on your own, but like, do you think like someone trained her?
I do think that somebody trained her. Do you have any theories on that before I go into mine?
I really can't think of anyone who could have like trained her while in prison or out of prison. I'm sure you've got a really cool theory.
I do. So this is interesting. Have you ever heard of Ellie Driver? Or L Driver, I'm sorry.
Sounds familiar.
Her code name was California Mountain Snake, and she was a member of the assassin known as Bill, kind of inner circle. She spent some time in the same prison as did Asia. So I don't have any thing here showing that they interacted, but Elle was a very skilled fighter, including hand-to-hand combat and weapons combat, which, again, we're going by a secondhand report from what apparently Asia told this guy, so we can't say for sure. But that Asia had maybe learned some skills from her. We do know for sure Asia was known for like trashing people in prison. And if L Driver had taught her anything, that could have been where she picked up some of those extra skills in prison.
Yeah, it could be that their sentences weren't too like I think there was a at least if you line up the timeline, there's a 4 year connection, but it's hard to tell like because we don't know if they were in the same cell block or even on the same side of the prison. You know what I mean?
No, we don't. It was just the only thing I could find where Asia could have come across somebody that we knew had this skill set. Obviously, it's prison. There could be any other number of people she befriended in there who could have taught her this same type of skill set, but that's the only notable name I could find.
Yeah, that's the only like true notable thing. And here's the other thing that's kind of confusing me is that there was after the destruction of the Virgil Hotel, there are no bodies.
No, there's nothing there. There's nothing. You could say that they were all incinerated, but that seems unlikely that there'd be nothing left.
Yeah, you'd still like burned or not, regardless of fire, there would be remains. But it seems like everyone either they were. You think they were either hiding the bodies, or do you think something else happened?
So again, this is like looking at some of the other cases, like we'd mentioned, a Grace McCauley case with the Les Dumases. There was a fire there, but apparently zero bodies there too. It's just like everybody had it disintegrated or exploded or something. So it is something that we see occurs in these instances. It was similar thing again with the Ravens Inn, where we know there was a fire, but there was only one corpse that was found and nothing else was found.
Yeah, that's my hang up here is that like now it also like when there was also no records recovered either.
No, nothing. No records. Now, again, Tyler, this could go back to your idea about elites wanting to keep stuff quiet. So maybe stuff was found and they just paid off the police or paid off the fire department or whatever the case would be. But yeah, there was no kind of records there found about majority of people who stayed there. We have a little leaks, like I had mentioned with the one individual, because she was running the fashion company, the Sharon Vanderbilt, or not the fashion, the de-aging company. But most of them kept pretty quiet.
Yeah, that's my thing is that like, well, I mean, if these selective like hotel guest logs are easier to hide than flight logs, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it could be that everything went up in flames, or a lot of stuff went up in flames and the rest of it was recovered and hidden away.
Correct. Could be the case as well.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards. And I don't know, like it's again, do you think also these groups that make these hotels or these for these weird, bizarre hunting games or something like that, if we were to believe it, do you think they're all connected, or do you think it's like different groups, like different cults, or everyone's serving a different demon? You know what I mean?
I think they're loosely connected, as we talked about earlier. There was some connections with the proprietors of at least a couple of these hotels. So it wouldn't surprise me. And again, people who are powerful and rich will set up these sort of like shell companies to obfuscate the connections between the places. So like I could see this being like sort of a group that's not trying to make it obvious that they're connected, but do have the same people behind them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it very much makes sense. Now, we don't know exactly what went on in there, and I don't know how many victims sadly went up in flames along with the staff and the guests at the hotel. But I would imagine it was quite a number.
Yeah, and all we have, to be fair, is the PI's sort of like tell-all, which he again used a surname for. He did name Asia and Maria Reeves by name, but those two are like in the wind. You cannot find them at this point.
I'm sure if all of this is true, then it would stand to reason that they would probably be for the best to like hide out, like, and also those two would probably be more than likely, as you said, in the wind and probably not want to be caught.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I imagine they're laying quietly somewhere. Because if to play devil's advocate, if this wasn't a case where it was a bunch of Satan worshipers killing people, Asia Reeves is a mass murderer, right? Like there's an arsonist and a mass murderer.
Yeah, that's regardless. You did save your sister, and I'm happy for you. But satanic demon worshippers or not, you committed mass murder and arson.
Yeah. So I'm thinking she's probably in the wind. It's kind of similar to like the Ash Williams situation, where some people see Asia as a hero and other people's are like, well, she killed a lot of people, you know?
Yeah. And I also, from what I understand, the Private Eye, after this tell-all book, dude's missing.
Yeah, he's missing too, and I don't think it's for the same reason that Asia and Maria are missing.
Yeah, maybe you should have. Maybe you should have kept this took the money and kept this to yourself, sir.
Well, private eyes aren't always known for being the most scrupulous people.
No, they are not. So yeah, there's really not much else we could say.
No, what do you think? What do you think really is going on here? Do you think that the story is true? Do you think it's partially true? Do you think it's all made up? What is your thought process here?
I mean, regardless if it's made up or not, there were dead people. There are people killed in there. There was a fire. But I think Asia was not going to get justice on her own, and took it into her hand to save her sister from, sacrificed or not, they were going to do horrible shit to her.
I would agree with that. And I would say I'm pretty sold on this network of satanic hotels, at least satanic worshiping hotels. What do you think?
There's too many coincidences for these cultists to like not know each other. And again, the fact that Shandor was the one behind building this damn thing, and we all saw what that happened in the 80s.
Yeah, that was a little bit more hard to cover that up, right?
I don't know. The city, like, there were some idiots in New York who wanted to say that was fake.
Yeah, the street cleaners would beg to differ.
Yeah. Yeah, also the church that was stepped on would also like to have a few words.
Yes.
It's really hard to hide a 50-foot Stay Puft Marshmallow Man walking down Madison Square.
Yeah. Although they've, New York has had other things where they've tried to hide things like that before. Like you can look back and think about how the 33 Kong rampage, they tried to make it seem like never happened too, So.
Oh yeah, they just gave up after that. After the damn thing fell out of the sky.
Yeah. That was kind of where you couldn't hide it anymore.
And then in the 50s, the Raidosaurus attack.
Yeah, same type of thing.
Yeah.
So
New York is just kind of I know New York is a very central city, but it almost feels like sometimes it's the epicenter for a lot of strange shit, and this is one of them.
This is definitely one of them. And then, of course, there's other ghostly and demonic things. There's the 85 incident you had mentioned. There's the reports of the Hellspawn in Rat City, right? I mean, there's a lot of other demonic type things reported to be occurring in New York.
Yeah. There's also the if you were to believe witchcraft, one of the three mothers living in there. If you follow your witchcraft, then she once lived in New York. You have there's so much to talk about there, but there's we only have so much time.
Right. So I think I don't have much else to say. It's interesting to report on the connections around the Virgil Hotel, and for the people like the Asia Reeves and the Grace McCulleys and the Bill Maitlands, these people who are kind of like left in the wake of reportedly having to take on these cults and then get the fallout from it because they look like they're they are mass murderers, I guess, but their reasons for having to do so are in question.
Yeah. So we leave it up to you, dear listener. Do you think that Asia Reeves is a hero or a monster? And a word of advice to all of you out there. Perhaps the next time you see a hotel with a ominous sounding name, maybe look somewhere else to stay the night. But until next time, dear listeners, I am Mr. Multiverse. Matt, thank you so much once again for joining me on these episodes.
Oh, it's always a great experience. Thank you so much.
And until next time, dear listener, here's to a world of gods and monsters.